Hello there and welcome. In this video we are looking at mollies, but no ordinary mollies. Well, actually yes, ordinary mollies, but in not an ordinary situation. We're talking about mollies in salt water. Now this may come as a shock to you, but mollies can live in both fresh and saltwater environments. In the wild, both types of mollie, the sphenops and the latipina, range from freshwater all the way out to saltwater. They are specially evolved so that they can deal with both freshwater and saltwater environments. In fact, some mollies have been found out a few miles into the ocean. Mollies tend to range from the east coast of America all the way down to regions in Mexico. Now, why would you actually put mollies in your saltwater aquarium? Well, other than the fact that mollies are really hardy and robust, mollies are mainly herbivores, which makes them excellent cleanup crew for your fish tank. I'm using mollies in this particular environment just to eat hair algae from the macroalgae I want to grow. Mollies like to go around their environment and rasp at rockwork, sand, or anything they can get their little lips on, and they basically scrape away any of the algae that's growing on top of that surface, which makes them ideal algae eaters. In saltwater, mollies act exactly the same as they do in freshwater. They're just as lively and just as colourful. One thing to note with mollies in saltwater is they tend to actually be a bit healthier, because a lot of the bacteria and parasites which afflict mollies, and not just mollies but also most live bearers in freshwater, don't tend to afflict them in saltwater because they can't exist in saltwater. So I've always found a saltwater mollie to be a lot healthier and happier than those in freshwater. So how do you actually get a saltwater mollie? Well, these days you have to create your own saltwater mollies. There aren't really any retailers that sell mollies living in saltwater. You have to acclimate them over yourself. Now, this is quite dangerous for a mollie because nowadays, with the intense breeding of mollies, their gene lines aren't quite as strong, which means they aren't quite as happy being acclimated over to saltwater as they used to be. If you're going to acclimate mollies over to saltwater, I recommend you use mollies in the line of latipina, because these tend to be a lot hardier than those in sphenops. However, that being said, the ones in front of you right now are actually from the line of sphenops. So how do you acclimate mollies over to saltwater? Well, basically all you do is get yourself some mollies, put them into a tub with the fresh water they came with, and then slowly drip acclimate them over into salt water. Now you can do this over a long period of time. I recommend between 6 and 12 hours, but obviously during this time you need to keep the water warm, and you also need to put an airline in there to keep some oxygen going. There are multiple reports and guides online about how to acclimate mollies over to salt water, and there's a big debate whether you can just chuck them in or whether you have to acclimate them. Now, having tried a few different ways, I have found that the long acclimation tends to be better for the fish. Whether that's just because of the supplier of the mollies I'm using, I don't know, but I recommend you to acclimate them slowly as possible. But unfortunately, don't be surprised if you lose at least 25% of your stock that you're trying to acclimate over, and that is due to the fact, as I said, they're not as hardy as they used to be, and they're too line bred and don't tend to carry such strong traits over, such as being able to deal with saltwater acclimation. But that being said, once you do get some mollies acclimated over, as long as you get a few males and a few females, you can breed them in saltwater and have your own dynasty of saltwater mollies. Now that's a pretty cool thing to do, and also you've got an unlimited supply of cleanup crew. You can see this little one here doing exactly what I want it to do, rummaging around and eating all the detritus and algae off of the surfaces where I don't want it to be growing. So I hope this video has been interesting and has shown you something which not a lot of people know. If you'd like to see more of this kind of content, please remember to subscribe to my channel and like this video. Thanks once again for watching, and happy fish keeping!